Welcome to the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse, brought to you by our sponsors, Atlanta Dispatch and Humblebee Enterprises. I'm very, very, very excited to have this brother on stage right now. Brother Josh, how you feeling, man?
Oh man, you know I'm wonderful, man. I'm in a space with the male Oprah of Clubhouse. I've been waiting for this. You know you my brother and I love you, man. I thank you for having me. I thank you for even thinking of me. So I'm excited. I'm here. I'm wonderful. Life is good as always because I woke up this morning and God blessed me to continue to do what I wanted to do. So um, I'm here, man. I'm here.
Yes, sir. Well, look, man, pleased to have you here on stage with me tonight. Look, before we begin with everything, all right, you just had an opportunity to go to a conference up in Philly. What was
Yes, sir.
that conference about? Let's talk about it. Matter of fact, sorry, I might even been jumping the gun. Please introduce yourself, your company, and then let's go into that. Sorry about that.
No, absolutely. For those who don't know me, my name is Josh Henry. I am the owner and operator of Apex Energy Logistics. We are based out of the Philadelphia, PA area. I have been running last mile and also middle mile delivery for just under 2 years. We've had exponential growth, which I thank God for over these past 2 years. I am a husband. I am a father and I'm an advocate for the box truck community. Anything that I can do for this community to put them in positions to acquire dedicated freight and to move forward, I want to make sure that this community actually benefits from that. I'm also a business forwarder, which means I like to see Black business move forward. So anything that I can do to help within that progression, I'm 100% for. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful every day. Jury knows he's been part of my struggle, been part of my journey. So I'm happy to be here and answer any questions and help anybody out the best way that I can.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah. Well, I appreciate that. We're going to talk more about your background and what you got going on. So, you took advantage of an opportunity to go to a conference in Philly this past week. What was that conference, and what was it about, brother?
So it was the home delivery conference last mile here in Philadelphia. And I must say, it was a little bit overwhelming. It was the first conference that I've been to since I've got into the trucking industry. And it was good to see the technology merge with transportation. The tech space was very large within this conference, which for me, because I'm into tech, I'm into crypto, I'm into all that good stuff. It brings some joy to my heart to see that there actually is a wave of technology to help along with this last mile, middle mile delivery. What I found from that, we had some great speakers. The speaker of Dolly was there, which I got a lot of good information from him. It was more so predicated on home delivery for me, which I don't do much of, but it was a good education on how the industry moves within mid mile and also last mile delivery. And I learned a lot and made a lot of good connections with some folks who were trying to merge um, different versions of tech with home delivery last mile along with mid mile and how we can make sure that the consumer experience is what they're thriving for. You know, everyone right now is ordering and expecting something within a day. They're trying to change the narrative from ordering something and getting it within hours. So that perspective was really, really interesting to see, and how they're putting route optimization and dark stores and all of these different fulfillment centers in certain places, especially urban areas, for that to then come to fruition. So it was good. It was good to be a part of. A lot of individual conferences. So I got to sit in on a lot of startups, but also established companies. You know, like Dolly, CRST. A broker that I work with is JW, drone delivery, all types of things. So it was a good experience to have. And like I said, originally it was a little bit intimidating being in the certain rooms and also being on the conference floor to see exactly how these companies operate. And it was funny because a couple of companies that I worked for and move some freight forward actually in the building. So it was good to put some faces with some names.
Oh, that is awesome, man. That is awesome. You said a lot of key things in there, but before I go to that, the funny thing is, I felt the same way about Modex here in the Atlanta area back in end of March. It was extremely overwhelming. It was so many exhibitors, so many vendors. It was a lot. It was a lot. I got an opportunity to meet a lot of people, but it was so much to take in. And yeah, that's when I
Absolutely.
first realized how deep and heavy robotics was in logistics at this point. So I love the fact that you said that you were able to be, like a kid in a candy store on the tech side of things.
Yeah.
But you said something else, man. Like the fact that you even went to this bad boy is similar to why we're having this session tonight. You went there to put yourself out there to the folks who are already doing it, who had opportunities, and you knew that by you putting yourself in the building, you at least were allowing yourself an opportunity to, mix and mingle and possibly pick up some more business. Why do you think that was important to do that?
I mean, because can we just your net work is your net worth. I mean, that's just simple as that. It was funny because I was talking to my business partner David, who was actually in the room, and one of the things that I found intimidating and a little bit uncomfortable, and I don't get too uncomfortable because I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. But I was the only person there who was wearing a T-shirt with their company logo on it. And I wanted to make that a precedent because it's like, at least I can stand out. And everyone that I spoke to from Rody, I spoke to Rody because when I started off as a courier service. I started off with a small SUV. And Rody was one of those apps in which I started the courier service with. I was doing medical courier services for certain hospitals and things of that nature. But Rody was one of those things I used to fill in the gap. And I spoke to them and I told them, I appreciate you guys for your app. You helped me get to where I'm at now, and they were very receptive to it. And, I took pictures with, the people at Rody and we had conversations in regards to how the platform has grown. And now they're actually getting into the larger box trucks, the cube trucks, the 26-foot box truck range, which is what I'm in. So it was good to be able to give something organic back to them, and then they also reciprocated back to me. But for me, it was just to understand the industry. For last mile and mid mile, we've been more mid mile over the past year, but we've done last mile as well. But to understand exactly where last mile is going to go, what is the future for last mile? What is the future for mid mile? Because without mid mile, last mile doesn't exist. So they come together in a synergy that works perfectly. So it was just to get my name out there, to speak to people, and to let them talk to me and educate me on things that I may have not studied, things that I may have not paid attention to, that now the light bulb has gone off. And then after that conference, the light bulb was there, and now I'm starting to dive into certain things. The drone delivery is just one thing that's just blowing my mind. It has a lot of more exponential growth that it needs to get into, but that's a wave of the future that just intrigued me a lot. So it was really just having the education from things I didn't know, and then also, networking with people who I could learn from, and then seeing if there's opportunities. And I was pretty surprised about who I talked to, and they were like, "Oh, you have this, or someone here, someone here." Yes. So listen, let's connect and let's see if we can put the dots together.
Yes, sir, man. I love it. And, put you in that situation. I know you're going to thrive, brother, because
Thank you.
it's been the service level that you've exhibited to all the folks. You know what I mean? Like, for the folks who don't know, Josh and I, we work together. Like, first off, we're brothers. I love this dude, very professional. I know he's
Thank
going
you.
to get the job done. But the reason I learned this is because we work together on the professional side of things. I was a dispatcher for his company. And once we linked up, things just started to bubble up organically. And it was when he was going above and beyond. He found certain clients that he was able to grow his company with, like expand himself, further his reach. And that's the reason why we're having this conversation right now, is because this is about promoting yourself, the things that you're doing in the industry, who you are, what you want to do, and asking questions like how can you get to that next step. And Josh and I, we came together at a spot where he had transitioned from the cargo vans and had gotten his first box truck, and now he has scaled his fleet. So the whole point is putting yourself in those opportunities to network is critical to your success. Why not take advantage of picking the brain of somebody who's moving at a very, very high level? If worst case scenario, you just gotta extend your hand or say what's up. So Josh, for the people who might still have some reservations about why it's important to promote yourself, how could you more so articulate your journey, kind of like what I was just talking about, to say how you doing that, putting yourself out there, has enabled you to grow?
Um, for anyone who has a reservation, I'll just be blunt. Get over it. I mean, get over it. I mean, at the end of the day, like you are a walking business. The moment that you decide to reach out and take the risk to own a business, right? You have to understand that you're walking as a business. You're no longer a regular person, right? So you have to know that everything that you do is an aspect of business. And that's one thing that I take to the soul. I try to move as a business, right? And with that comes being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Once you can start tackling that, everything starts to falter through. You also have to make sure that you have the understanding, you have to network, and you have to follow through. Those are my three key values. You have to do those three things and make sure that you follow through on the promise, you understand what you're doing, and you network with the correct people. All money isn't good money, right? So you have to make sure that what you decide to do is beneficial for you, and whatever that you put in place for whatever your business plan is, or your moral compass, or your mission statement for your business. And you have to go after it 100%. For us, I love my team. Like if it wasn't for my team, I wouldn't be where I am, period. If it wasn't for Clubhouse, and those early days of networking, I wouldn't be where I am. So you have to get over it, and you have to get out there. You have to, expose yourself and be willing to be accessible to the new opportunities, and then assess those opportunities to see if there's something that's great for you. And then on top of that, you got to sprinkle on what we call the Chick-fil-A sauce. If you go to Chick-fil-A, you're happy, right? No matter if they're standing out there in the sun all day and the rain all day, regardless, when they talk to you, they're happy, right? They Chick-fil-A has the sauce. I don't know what their customer service training is. Whatever it is, it needs to be bottled up and put across the board. I did customer service for 10 years. I trained customer service departments, retention departments, the whole nine. And I had to get people to conform to being their nicest self over the phone, right? But when you go to Chick-fil-A, these people are out here standing on their feet all day. They're probably dealing with all type of aggravation. But they still give you that little Chick-fil-A service to make you feel like, okay, all right, I'm happy to get my food. You got to be the same way in your business. They got to be happy to do business with you. They got to remember you. They have to understand that you made a statement. And that's one of the things that we live by. We go above and beyond all the time when it comes to us moving this freight. If it's to us to wrap the pallets, if it's us to teach who we are, where we are at the time, this is the proper procedure, how you get these pallets ready for us when we show up. Hey, we're going to be at least 15, maybe 10 minutes early, right? So if that fits in your equation, you let me know. If it's not, I'll show up 5 minutes late just to make sure you guys are comfortable. You have to sprinkle on that Chick-fil-A sauce. That's what makes you different.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You gotta be able to distinguish yourself from the rest. I mean, that's very true. And again, that's how I know personally that you've been able to put yourself in those conversations to expand your reach, because I know that's what you're doing. Um, and that's great that you said that you got an opportunity to see some of these people that you are actually working with,
Yeah.
because, being able to put that the physical, everybody since the pandemic, we got very, very
Mm,
used to, the Zoom call or the phone call. It is sufficient, but at the same time, once you can lock it back in, it's a different level. It's a different level.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the current broker who we've been doing some business with, I met one of their cohorts around, I want to say October of last year. Yeah, 2021, October of last year. Um, Never met any of their other team since, and we've been doing good business with them for a while, and it was refreshing to walk to a booth, say my name, and then say the name of the company, the customer we were fulfilling, and they say, "Oh, you're that guy." Yeah, I'm
Right.
that guy. I'm that guy. Yeah. Oh, and I had people hug me. It was like, yeah, you're that dude. Like, yeah, yeah, I'm that guy. And they hugged me, and it was like, okay. And that's the same reaction I used to try to get out of when I was working a 9 to 5 and doing retention. I spent my days trying to save people from canceling accounts. And they start off with all the curse words you can put in a box and why they don't like this. And then my goal was at the end of the conversation that they say thank you.
Right.
So that was my proverbial thank you for when I actually met the person that I didn't know I had an impact on, right? Because it's a whole team. I'm dealing. My focus was the customer. Okay, this is
Hmm.
what we've been contracted to do. I got to make sure the customer is fulfilled. But there's a whole team behind that who's satisfied because how we work makes their job easy. So for them to hug me and tell me thank you, it was gratifying. It was gratifying.
Yes, sir. Well, look, we did just get joined by Grace Sharkey. I can't wait to ask her a question. What you just said, what you just said did make me think about the fact that I am a household name in a lot of my customers. When I say customers, that can be that could be a fleet owner, or it can be a brokerage, but I'm talking about a brokerage right now. How, you are a perfect person to ask this question. What's the difference? How do you transition from something being transactional, like you just pick up a load, a spot load, to building that relationship? Like what's the difference between having a relationship versus leaving things at a transactional status?
For me, it's
Yeah,
me.
for you.
Being human. I mean, being human. I mean, at the end of the day, like there are certain things that I would do that are just a human aspect. Saying "How are you today?" Right? Like I've dealt with dispatch with our current broker. I've dealt with when I know we had a situation, and I don't know if you remember this with the Philadelphia Convention Center. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
that. They
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
me
yeah, I do.
yeah. They gave me a drop off location and a pickup location that wasn't correct, and I went to both. Right? Was I inside of that box truck frustrated as hell? Yes, yes. I'm adding more miles. I'm adding more time to my day for something that probably could have taken maybe 2 hours, but it
Hmm.
extended to a 4 hour day, right? 4 or 5 hour day. But when they communicated to me, I never showed it. So I was giving the human aspect to say, okay, you know what? No problem. I got it. Listen, it's not a big deal. How are you though? What's going on in your world? Right? That opens up the sensibility of the person that you reach out to that, oh, this guy's not just about the transaction. Right? And I think that day too, I wound up finding out that whoever that was, I don't know if it was a dispatcher or I was talking directly to a broker, I can't remember at this moment in time. But I found out that he was a Steelers fan. We started talking about football
Mm,
via text. You
mm.
know, that's the human aspect, right? We're humans, we're people. And a lot of times we get away from that in business because we're chasing the money. I don't chase the money, right? I'm chasing the success of those around me, and I'm chasing the success for those who I do business with. That's why I named the company Apex Energy. It's the highest level of cooperation. That's exactly what that means, right? So if we're cooperating, that means we're a team. right? I'm not going to look down on you. I'm hoping that you don't look down on me. And one way that I can shrink that level is to get to the human level. So yeah, we got a job to do, we got this to do, and that and the third. But at the end of the day, let's take it off a sequence. How are you? How's your day? Who am I speaking to? What's your name? Oh, okay. Hi, Jim. We get into that banter. Who's your team, Jim? Oh, you're a
Right.
Pittsburgh fan? I'm an Eagles fan. Now we got something to bicker over. Don't let it be a Cowboys fan versus an Eagles fan. We can talk all day, right?
Right. Right.
So now I'm on sensibility. I'm on human time. And once I'm on human time, now I have jumped into your memory. Because especially if I talk to a broker, I talk to a dispatcher, you're a Cowboys fan, I'm an Eagles fan, we're tied already. You can't wait to talk to me because you want to talk your trap, I want to talk mine.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's the human aspect. That's the difference from taking it from transactional to another space. You got to get to the human space.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, I truly appreciate you expounding on that because most people don't realize it is just that simple to build a relationship. And now you have given yourself an opportunity to stand out versus, just being one with the flock.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I, yes, sir. Grace, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, Grace? How you feeling?
Hi, Grace.
Good. Hi. I just jumped off the radio show and was like, oh, I want to sit here and see what Jory's up to. This is great.
Hey,
I love this. Yeah,
hey.
Josh, I'm actually interviewing Rhodey on my podcast in a couple weeks. So I was like, oh, that's crazy. Small world. So that's awesome to, sometimes writing about technology, I like listening to the people who actually have used it to actually do something with their business. So it's just cool. Small world.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Look, Grace, first off, I'm so grateful that you're here. And if you guys don't know, Grace is she's kind of like she's kind of golden around here. She wrote an article way back that highlighted the transportation and logistics clubhouse for freight waves. At the very very earliest time, and it just gave us a lot of traction. So look, Grace, you are always welcome. I'm so appreciative. You got the new show. For the folks who might not know, let's talk about what you got going on. So please talk about your Sirius FM podcast, please.
Yeah, first I do want to say it's so funny you bring up that article because I almost wrote it out of spite because there's a couple people in house where that like didn't believe in Clubhouse the way I truly believed in it and just like the networking. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to write this article. I'm going to show you how it works and how it's helping people because, I think it really allows. I love Clubhouse because it allows people who might not want to a make the investment of classes, b might be afraid to ask certain questions. It gives you like this anonymous like place to just safe place to just ask questions and be an idiot and learn about something that could actually really help your career and your family and your environment and your neighborhood. And so I love it. And you're the exact reason I wanted to write the article because it showcases, looking back, I almost want to reread it and see how much you've grown so far because it's true. And yeah, so just that FYI, I wrote that literally out of spite because I was like, you know what? No, I'm proving you guys wrong. And it went really, really well. And yeah, so I write for freightwaves.com. I focus my attention more on technology in the industry and a lot of the investment and VC work that goes into it. And on the side, well, I don't say side, within that role, I also host since March SiriusXM on the Road Dog channel from 5 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday. Freightwaves Drive Time, which is just a talk show where we go through different topics throughout the week, touch on the news clearly and how that's relating to drivers, talk about the market and showcase Sonar and how we use that and how people use that to gauge their businesses. And I just absolutely love it. I'm having so much fun with it, and it's going really, really well. And I'm actually sitting here working on driver appreciation content for next week. So Anyone out there that's listening and is a driver, kudos to you. I couldn't do it. I think I'd fail the sleep apnea test, to be honest with you.
Oh,
That's
snap.
that's not like, let alone probably the drug test. But other than that, kudos to all of you. You're killing it out there, and I'm loving to see the growth. And Jory, you bring on just incredible guests onto this platform. So great work. I love watching you guys grow, and you're growing your little family too. It's just awesome.
Well, look, we truly appreciate it here at the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse. For you, you know, you said it started in March, the Sirius FM show. How is that process different now? Because you've definitely grown into that. Especially, you're saying that it is 5 days a week. I just talked to Trey
Yeah.
Griggs, and having that daily show, man, that's a different type of grind. So how has it changed since you first got started? What type of efficiencies do you feel like you built into the way that you guys do things there?
Well, I think one big part that does help is that I'm a part of the editorial team still, and I still contribute in writing. So I know by noon, and I know usually midway through the day, the big stories I'm going to want to hit. And I have, guests lined up. I'll kind of watch the editorial team, and if there's a cool interview that goes by, or even on the content side, if there's an interview that I'm like, you know what, I think there's listeners that would really enjoy hearing this person on SiriusXM. I grab them and I make that work. And it does take a lot of time, but listening to other shows, and I really don't want the other guys that are on the channel. Which is another kind of cool thing. Besides Ellen's from Women in Trucking on Saturday, on a regular basis, I'm the only female on there, and
Hmm?
um, I've gotten some really great feedback from drivers in particular, because so many drivers, they start driving for a big company, they get SiriusXM for free. So a lot of the listeners are drivers, and at first I was like, great, they're going to hear this lady on here telling them about a bunch of business they don't give a shit about, and it's been the opposite.
Right, definitely.
They it's like they've gotten the same content from the same people for years and years, and now they're like, so many of them are calling in and they're just like, I love this side of the news. Like, you're teaching us about what's important for shippers and what's important for brokers, and I learn now how to what their incentives are. And I think that's, part of it is that it's a chain for a reason. We all have a piece of this, and we all need to work together to get that shipment from A to B. And so if I know what incentivizes you as a shipper, if I know what incentivizes you as a driver, I'm going to tweak my business to make that better for you. So I think I went into it a little nervous, especially because like a week after I started, they had me do the show live at Matt's, which is like the largest trucking
Mm.
convention. Yeah, so it's like, here,
Right. Yeah. Wow.
yeah. So it was like a week into it, they're like, go do it live in front of everyone. And it was like, even like a week into it, I had like three or four like fans like sitting in the front. And it was just so, it's just, I don't know. And you probably, this shows you, right, who you're talking to, but I go into it every day thinking no one's listening to me. So when I do get feedback and like hear about the number of people that we have listening, and the stuff that they enjoy hearing, and just the really nice calls from drivers, it makes it all worth it. But I think what I really love is I go into it knowing nothing, right? Like,
Mm.
I don't go in there and tell. Trust me, I'm never gonna go in there and tell you how to fix your truck. Like, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna go in there and I'm gonna tell you have to invest in the electric truck and you have to invest in it now. I don't know. I don't know what your business is like. I don't know how you're looking to grow. And I want to hear, like, there's a couple of listeners I get on a daily basis that I probably politically disagree with. And we go back and forth, but that's the best part, is it's like an open space to kind of push the conversations that we put out there on FreightWaves, and hear how it's digested, and learn how to better the product over time.
Right, right. Well, look, I know that you are a wealth of experience. You know that, right? Because you also we're talking about freightways, we're talking about podcasting, we're talking about you creating content,
Yeah.
editing, all of the stories and what you're going to cover. And we haven't even talked about the fact that you are an exec for a brokerage. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
with
I
you,
know.
with you having that experience, right? I mean, we got Josh on the stage. We got these other folks who are, fleet owners at the end of the day. Is there anything that you feel like you learned or even by experience, that kind of like made people or fleet owners stand out, motor carriers stand out, that made you want to give them more opportunities? Was there anything like that
Mm,
that you might can, dig deep to remember?
yeah. You know what's yeah. I always like leave it. Oh, by the way, yeah, I helped. I built by the time I left there and took my check. We built about $80 million brokerage up in Michigan. I think they should be waiting to see what Transport Topics lists them at. But they should be ending somewhere between 100 and 120 this year. Um, I, I think Josh actually said it really well. It's just starting the conversation. It's about literally just saying, hey, we've been doing these loads for you for a certain amount of time. We really love them. We're growing our business off of them. It's allowing us to get to maybe certain markets to help another customer. Can we talk about getting to the point of contracting this, right? I think a lot of people made good money off the spot market for a good amount of time, but you want to diversify your business. It's the same as every single brokerage, is the same for carriers. You don't want to be too heavy in the spot and you don't want to be too heavy in the contract, but you got to have something. And I'll tell you right now, most people, especially if it's a brokerage that's up and coming, that's not huge yet, they're working on automation. And part of automation is knowing exactly who to send that rate con to the moment that shipment is tendered over to them. And if they can find a good carrier who's willing to say, hey, you get these, just send them over, it's done, they're going to be fully invested in that. And I think it takes that conversation, it takes that one-on-one, hey, we want to take this relationship to the next level, just like you would in a normal relationship, right? Like, this, we want to take this past friendship, this is becoming, you're becoming so a part of my life that this business relationship is so necessary. And I think they're going to be willing to hear you, especially right now where we just did a broker survey at Freightways where the number one thing that brokers were concerned about was losing their shipper to price or losing their shipper to another carrier. And if you can find a good carrier to build a relationship with, like whenever I hear that from to a broker, and take it back a second, whenever I hear from a broker, I'm afraid of losing a customer because of price. What I really hear is you don't have a good carrier behind that lane that you're confidently selling yourself to. So a broker wants to have right now carriers on lanes that they can do frequently. So one, they can either find better loads for you in the future, or two, make sure that they're holding that customer so that they can continue to grow their revenue too. So I think it's just really about, just like Josh said, like figure out who you've got good relationship with. Just start the conversation. Start it. It might not go your way the first time around, but I can guarantee if that carrier relationships director is training those people appropriately, they're going to be interested in at least sitting down and having the convo.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, that is pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. Look, man, I know that these are two great folks on stage right now, but wouldn't it be better if we were also able to hear from you, the other folks who are part of the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse? Let us know what you got going on. Where are you in your business? Is there something that we can do to help you get to that next level? This session is strictly for you guys, so please holla at us. Raise your hand. Okay, what's up, brother? I got this, brother.
Hey,
All
hey
right,
Jerry. Hey,
what's up,
Jerry.
Josh?
I just want to say one thing, and Grace, thank you for blessing the stage. A lot of what you said just superly resonated with me, and I just wanted to piggyback with what she said in regards to having the conversation. Not only having the conversation, but being able to follow through with it, because
Yeah.
you can move freight, right? We can move freight all day. If you got a truck, you can do what you got to do. But if you are not following through with what is required, that is going to hinder that relationship. And it goes through any relationship. I just celebrated 2 years in marriage, and me and my wife have
Hey,
progressed. Thank you. Um,
congratulations, brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But we've been together for almost 10 years, right? But through that period of time, we have learned to grow with each other, right? We have to know the nuances in between, but the biggest thing that we do is that we communicate, right? And we all know in this industry, communicating is the number one necessity for growth, right? Over communication will get you in the top tier. So you have to follow through in which that you're requested of, and then go above and beyond with all the other stuff that I was saying earlier. But having that conversation is just one part. You have to be able to follow through with what's requested of you and go above and beyond that as well. And that's what builds that good relationship with brokers. That's the one thing that they start to think of you over anyone else. They know that you're that guy or you're that gal, right? They're the ones I'm going to go to first. And if it doesn't work for them, then I got to go through the rest of my mental Rolodex. So you have to be able to follow through and make sure that you're doing the things that are above and beyond versus every other carrier, because there's a million carriers out here.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree with you there. That is four. That was one of your three things. You had 3 points that you said, and that was definitely one of them. You got to follow through. You definitely got to follow through. So thank you again, Josh, for sharing that. Grace, we're not finished. We're still talking. Josh, we're not finished. We're still talking. What's up, Desi? How you doing, brother?
Hey, peace, family. Desi, most people know me. I'm just basically supporting Josh, saying what's up to you. Pleased to
OG,
meet you,
you know I
Grace.
love you.
It's all love, little bro. Yeah, man, it's been a trying year in trucking, man. It's really made people dig deep. And the cream rises to the top, the strong survive. We really, you cannot be like so rigid that you're not willing to try new things. Um, in the community that we've created here on Clubhouse has been everything. I mean, just from the motivation person to person, you know, everybody going through ups and downs, highs and lows. So it's just a great community. Um, I'm still, I definitely diversified. Like I agree with what you guys said in terms of not relying. I did rely heavily on when it was hot. As they say, and I kind of know too long, but it kind of like at the end, you have to just reassess and reevaluate everything. When you go to some of the reliables, like right now, a mix spot with FedEx, and things like that, staples of the industry. There's still a lot of people, that are staples in the industry that has, um, great pay and freight. Consistency is key in this business. So, and just staying in the know. If this is your craft and you aim to master it, you got to stay in the know of what's going on, what the changes are. Um, in touch with your people, kind of like Josh was saying. So, I've been doing that. Again, I'm a fleet owner. Um, I've definitely tried to do things to lower overhead because trucks is like high overhead, especially the 18 wheelers. But man, we've learned so much, we've grown so much. I think like probably the biggest thing about 22 now that we're starting to creep into the back end of it, is that it's been a big workout. It's been a big mental and physical workout that has developed a lot of strength and skills that people had and didn't want to use or didn't have and had to gain. So I kind of did a little bit of both, and I'm just grateful to be standing, grateful for the community, and hey, had nothing been taken, had missed many meals. I need to miss a meal or two, and
God.
it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing that we have here, and look with everybody.
Well, yes, sir. Well, look, man, Desi, man, I truly appreciate you coming up to the stage. Desi has been growing with the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse since the very beginning. Came out the gate teaching people different aspects about the industry, folks who wanted to get in to be either become drivers or get their own trucks. So always appreciate you coming through. And I just posted this bad boy in here. This link is basically a sign up link. You just click on the bad boy, you put your information in there. But I was inspired because you said you could afford to lose a meal or two. And I actually just ran my first 5K on Monday. I'm very, very excited because I just wanted to get 28 minutes. I ended up, beating that. I ended up getting like 26 minutes, and so yeah, I was excited about that. I've already signed up for my next 5K, which is going to be the ATL 5K. We're going to be running right there at Hartsfield Jackson on the runway. So if people are interested, go ahead and submit your information, and I'll send you some details about it. There is a group for the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse, and so I'll send you those details if you're interested. We did have somebody else raise their hand. I have extended that invite if they want to come up. Now is definitely the time. Um, okay, so maybe it was a mistake because they definitely denied that request. Um, well, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I was very excited about that 5K that I just ran. So Desi, maybe we can get together on that bad boy, brother. What you think about that?
I'm laughing, man. I work out a lot, but I think they ran all the miles out of me while I was in the military, man. But you bring up an interesting point, man, and that staying in good physical shape, is key to being in trucking, man. You gotta have a holistic approach. So I might have to join you. I might speed walk it or power walk it a bit, but I will, like Josh said, the follow through. I will complete whatever I start. So
Yes, sir.
hey, I'm with flying the banner with that. So thanks for the invite. I might have to join you since you called me out, in front of all these people.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. The reason why I even got into this position is because I was eating too good, okay? And my mother, my sisters looked at me and they laughed. So I had to tighten up. And the whole point is I've had the opportunity to consistently run. But yeah, so this was my 5K. I was excited about it. And Grace, you did mention that we do have Driver Appreciation Week coming up. I'm excited about that. Do you have any ideas? Well, actually, I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised. You got 5 days worth of content you got to plan. So, I just want to be surprised about what you got going on.
I will say, I'll give you a sneak peek. I do plan on having some really. So here's my thing, and so I got an email earlier today too about. I'm not going to say who it. I'll just say it's a food company, and um, their pitch for like a story kind of was that. I hate marketing. It's so stupid. Was that for Driver Appreciation Week, they're going to be setting up tables at like a handful of locations for drivers to sign up to work for them and deliver for them. And the kicker was you get like some free product. I'll say it's cheese is the product. Um, and I was just like, this isn't a driver appreciation. Like
Mhm.
this is a recruiting attempt, and I think it's funny. It's one of my favorite weeks because you really get to see what companies are truly concerned about their carrier relations and what companies are using it kind of like a marketing force, right? To conquer certain initiatives like recruiting, etc. So my goal right now is I'm going to have a number of people within the industry who are truly giving back. I'll say, for instance, my first episode is going to be with Shannon, who runs St. Christopher's Truckers Relief Fund. So
Okay.
they help any drivers who, let's say, they're injured or they can't do the job. They help take care of rent, um, medical bills,
I've heard of
electricity
them.
bills. Yeah, they do a lot of great work. So I want to make sure that the people I'm having on the show throughout the week are people who are actually contributing to a better lifestyle and are truly working to show driver appreciation. and hopefully a couple giveaways from a lot of these individuals as well. So of course, who doesn't love free swag? But the key that I'm really focused on is I don't want to waste the week with a bunch of PR bullshit, to say the least. And I want to make sure that we're showcasing different groups, different companies, even tech companies who are truly trying to showcase their appreciation. So know that that's there at least.
Okay. Well, no, that's pretty exciting, and I did learn about that organization, and of course, they are truly, keeping the driver first.
Yeah.
So, no, I love that. I definitely love that.
I will
Okay.
say one of my
Um.
favorite things that they do, and I just say this on here because I had a really tough last year with my father who had a lot of issues from about 45 to 50 years of smoking cigarettes. I have just celebrated this weekend my fourth year not smoking cigarettes, and that is one thing that they really
Hey.
push. Yeah, and honestly, it's any type of addiction. It's probably the hardest thing I ever went through. I was one of those smokers who started off by just like um, taking a cigarette here or there from a friend. I'm not
Yeah,
buying
you're
them,
out. You're
right?
out
It's always,
partying.
yeah,
Why not?
yeah. And then it's slowly turned to buying a pack here and there, and then I always told myself, I could kick these if I wanted to, and it didn't go as clean as planned, and a lot of panic attacks came with it. A lot of issues came with it. So one thing that St. Christopher does is they have a really great no cigs behind rigs, I think is what the program is called, and
Okay.
they really help drivers kick the habit. So that's definitely one thing we'll be talking about on Monday.
Well, that's awesome. And, I was raised by a trucker. He definitely smoked cigarettes. I was that kid that said, ew, I'll never smoke cigarettes. I
Yep.
got to Afghanistan and your boy was puffing it up, okay?
Yep. No,
Puffing it up,
100%.
puffing it up, and it got even worse when I opened the company in Dubai. And I
Yep.
do know that pain and that struggle and how mentally strong you have to, how resilient you have to be to kick that type of habit. So, no, kudos to you. I'm happy that that's something that you're going to be able to highlight because that thing, it'll get a stronghold on you, and it's only if you want to, and it got to be more than one. It got to be more than
Yeah.
one. You got to have that support. So
Yeah. It's so funny, like, because, well, not funny, but interesting. So, long story short, my dad had a surgery that had really bad complications this past year. He kept trying to blame the surgeons, which I thought was funny because I was, let's blame the surgeons, not the 60 years of tobacco that got you to the surgery in the first place. And
yeah,
it does. It affects so much of your life, from your taste buds to your breathing. Like I used to, when I was a swimmer, I used to be able to go the whole length of the pool without having to take a breath, and now it's like two or three strokes, it's over. So, it affects you, and what's really great though is you might not be able to stop yourself after so many years from heart disease in the future, etc. But you can laying it off as soon as possible adds up. So I'll always fight for that as much as I can.
I agree. I agree. The funny thing is, my father, he just texted me actually, and so I was raised by a stepfather, but this is my biological father. He's the one that actually he beat it. He gave up cigarettes a long time ago, but
Nice.
he used to be that guy buying them by the carton as well. So it's just something that we got to get away from. That's it. So. But yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that. Very, very, that personal touch to everything. We're real people up here who go through real things. So thank you for sharing that. We did have somebody join the stage. Miss Tia, what's up now? How you feeling? Miss Tia, are you there? Because you said you had a question, and we got you up on stage now. So you just got to go ahead and unmute yourself on the bottom right hand corner. Hey, what's up, Miss Tia?
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm new to Clubhouse and I'm just
That's
trying
all
to learn
good.
this thing. I
Yeah.
wanted
So
to
look,
thank,
please introduce yourself and let us know what your question is.
yes, yes. So, my name is Tia McNeil and I'm from Philly. and I am new to the trucking industry. I was invited here tonight by my friend Josh, who's been
Okay.
helping me through this process. I literally just started my LLC for the trucking company, and I just got a 26-foot box truck. So I'm brand new, fresh out of the water. So my question is, I just wanted to know, what advice would you guys give to someone like myself who's new to the industry and just getting started?
Okay, okay. So look, I think that we have so many people up here that can answer that question. I'm just going to give my answer first, okay?
Okay.
But if anybody else is inspired, please, just go ahead and extend it. The first thing is educate yourself, you know,
Hmm.
and I say that because you want to educate yourself so you can protect yourself. A lot of new entrants, a lot of new carriers, they end up building unhealthy habits because they don't know what the regulations are that they got to adhere to. So they might, I just had a conversation with a buddy of mine. We went to college together. I was there when she told me when she first got her box truck. I just found out that they just been illegally, they've been doing this thing called shadow brokering, where they don't necessarily have somebody leased onto their company, but they'll book a load and they'll give it to somebody. And I had to let them know how just illegal that was. So I would say the biggest thing you can do that's going to help you and everybody else is become educated on what those regulations are, understand your insurance and why you need it, and understanding the commodities that are actually covered by your insurance. Because you got, if you didn't say that you were going to be hauling U.S. mail when you signed up for your MC, and now you get an opportunity to get some dedicated U.S. mail. But now, because you didn't say it, you're not even eligible to get it on your insurance. So you just got to
Hmm.
know, like, you just got to educate yourself on the nuances of things. That's my 2 cents. If anybody else wanted to speak, please go for it.
Yeah, I mean, give my 2 cents. Tia is a very good friend of mine. She knows I appreciate her and I love her. And I'm gonna be a little comical here. Come to death row. Come over to
That-
us. We'll take care of you, you know. But but realistically, I agree with what Jury said. It's understanding, you know, and like I said, it's part of my 3 key points. It's just understanding exactly what you're into, right? There's a compliance aspect to this. There is a pricing model that you have to create for your business to understand that you're not taking the low bottom of the freight, because you do have a lot of bottom feeders out here who are changing the industry, which makes it a little bit
Hmm.
difficult for the industry. And then really understanding what you want. Um, for me, and it's just from personal experience, I found out what I wanted by going through the stuff that I didn't want. So, whatever it is that you are looking to accomplish for your company, you have to make sure the compliance piece is there so that you can operate. But you also have to have a jurisdiction for what it is that you want to do. You know, we've gone through the aspects of doing OTR, which is going over the road. I didn't like that, right? So, since I didn't like that, how can I correct that? So you want to have a model based upon exactly what it is how you want your company to operate, where you want to operate, what you're expecting within that operation, and then try to stay in that form as best as possible. Don't chase the freight. I think a lot of people get into the aspect of just chasing the freight because, of course, we all know bills are due. Things got to get paid, right? But you have to find a model that fits exactly what you want so that you can be comfortable in running the business. So you don't want to get into a point where, like they say, being house poor, right? You buy a house, and I know you know this. You buy a house just to have it, but then now the lights are cut off every 2 months or so, right? So you have to get into that comfortability and understanding exactly what you want. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. That's the biggest thing I would have to give. Besides what Jory said, is know your numbers and what you want to gain with this business.
Uh,
So much.
if I
That
could
was
add,
extreme.
oh yeah, that was really great, Josh. And honestly, if I was to piggyback off of those 2 things, let's say you do exactly what Jory and Josh just say, be prepared to scale. I think a lot of times people get into this industry and they're more afraid of getting a load than what happens when you positively deliver that and start bringing good customer service to your customers. It's a what, $7 trillion business. There's so much freight out there for people, and what's interesting about this job or this service is that when you deliver good service, it usually does great for your customer, and then their customers want to buy more, and then they're going to look to you to continue to help with that growth. So know once you know exactly what you want and the how you want to grow your business and how you if you want to be over the road, if you don't, etc. It's interesting. A lot of people, I'm like looking through everyone's profiles and stuff. There's so many people on here that I know start with assets, and then you open up a logistics company. Well, why is that? Because you got overflowed. You have to figure out someone else to handle that, or else your customer is going to look for someone who can handle that. And I think I always find it funny because I've been a part of a lot of different like intro classes and even on a lot of the questions that come with Jory's Clubhouse group. It's a lot of like uh, how how do I get a load and how do I get delivered? Well, once you figure out like how to do that, you can grow your business very quickly, and you can with that comes hurdles. It's going to be more cash flow. It's going to be possibly looking at assets, whether maybe it's not trucks, maybe it's warehousing space. So I always love for people to be almost a couple, just keep ahead of yourself a little bit and know what you're going to need down the line, because I think sometimes you get yourself in this pinch where now your customer wants more from you and you could grow with them too, but because you didn't set yourself up for it, you might not be ready for the opportunity when it comes. So don't be afraid of how you're going to get it done as much as being more concerned about how you're going to scale it and continue the opportunities past that first load.
Thank you so much.
All right, all right. Well, look, Desi looks like he's on the line, so he's not going to be contributing to this question, at least right now. If there were any other folks that wanted to come up to introduce yourself and let us know what your business is, please go ahead and raise your hand. I did want to say thank you to both of those responses. I agree with both of them. I definitely do. You got to know those numbers. If you don't know how to get to those numbers, ask someone or, hire someone to teach you how to go through your business to get to those numbers. And what Grace just said is exactly where Josh is. Scaling the company. He scaled the company because he was providing exceptional service. So they wanted more business with him. So Josh, you know her personally, so you're going to be able to talk a little bit more to, what that looks like to prepare yourself or the individual steps or the relationships that you have to build to get the equipment when you need it at a moment's notice. So thank you both for giving us some value right there. Well, before we do go, apparently we do have something that we want to have from Desi on this topic as well. Desi, what's up, brother?
Oh yeah, my phone rang at the most inopportune time, but it kind of summarizes what everybody was saying. First of all, you've got Josh, an acronym is called MAP, mental prepare, and mental prepare. I one of the best mentors that started from his SUV and now moved on to numerous trucks. So you've got that right at hand. I mean, I know
My bad. Hey, Desi,
it's
not
not,
to interrupt you, brother. Can you say that acronym again?
MAP, MAP,
MAP.
MAP.
Uh huh.
So M has a couple meanings. Mentally prepare and get a mentor, right? So you guys already said, and one of the big mental preparations you need to make is change. This industry is volatile. It's always changing. So you gotta be flexible. You gotta kind of be like water in that preparation, to ride the waves, diversify as necessary, so that you could survive. So again, having a mentor that's actually started with small and grew to another level that can guarantee you get. Look at other people. So then, look at look at opportunities that fit where you want to go, and look at what threats that you need to survive in that regard. And lastly, like everybody said, although you're kind of like going into an industry that your mentor's in, come up with your own plan. You're unique. You might find your own niche. Your skill set might be somewhat different and allow you a different path than what he's taking. But just again, mentally prepare, get your mentor, do analysis of the whole industry, and come up with your own plan and work that plan. That's it.
Okay. Well, look, Desi, I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. Play. You are you driving?
No,
Because the reason why I asked you
I'm sitting
to
still right
repeat
now.
that acronym is because we couldn't hear it. But we got mentor, and I know we got plan. You know, your own individual plan. What was that? A.
I'm putting it in the chat because I'm sitting here. I'm
Okay. Hey,
yeah. I'm out here. I'm out here. Probably not the best area, but I'll put it in the chat.
that man said
But
I'm on
yeah.
the east side.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha, bro. All right.
All right. Well,
What's up,
bet.
Saint?
We did have a
All right.
couple people that joined us on stage since we started hearing Desi's acronym. And let's go ahead, Miss Lawanda. What's up now? I've seen you in here a couple times. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm extremely blessed, madam. Can you please introduce yourself? Let us know what you do in the industry and your question or your plug, because you know this is to plug yourself.
Sure. So I'm actually a notary public loan signing agent. I close homes, but I am in the process of getting into the trucking business.
Okay.
Um, I got my new authority, and I'm kind of at the process now. I've done a lot of research with insurance. But where I'm kind of stuck at is looking for a 26-foot box truck. I know trucks have been really, really high, so I waited and things are coming down, and I'm just looking for like the best place to get one. I looked at Josh's page and I see that you look like you had, I guess, were renting or leasing from like Enterprise before. And that was one thing that I was kind of looking at, but it was kind of expensive. So, do you all have any places that would be like a better place to go to look for a truck to purchase?
All right. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh,
How about I was about to say I could take that one. I actually do both. So I do lease from Enterprise, and I also actually finance the truck as well. So I got best of both worlds, if you want to put it that way. It really depends on, and I tell people this all the time. It depends on what your budget is, and then how much you are willing to sacrifice. In business, there's always sacrifice, right? So there's two sides of the coin. If you own the truck, then you have full responsibility of that truck. I always say if you're going to buy, you got to get a good extended warranty. If you're going to rent, make sure that you negotiate a good enough rate, because a lot of times these enterprise and budgets and all that, they'll give you a standard of what they're going to do, but you can also still negotiate those rates if you have those negotiation powers. Um, I'm pro both sides, right? Because for what I may have spent in maintenance over the past almost 2 years may not equate to what I have spent in paying for the lease, right? But with the lease, I don't have to worry about maintenance, right? So it's a give and take on both sides. So it just depends. I bought, or I should say we. I don't want to say I because I'm a team. So we bought a truck from Penske, and for lack of better words, we got a bit of a lemon, right? They told us it was this, it was that, and the moment we got it, we needed to get things fixed on it, right? So you have to be leery about when you purchase a truck. Always get a independent mechanic to go look at that truck for you when you want to purchase it. That's number one. Always get another set of eyes versus the people who want to sell it to you. And even if you have to buy from a different state, when we purchased our truck, I purchased it from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I flew out to Kansas City, Missouri to pick up my truck. And then I noticed all the issues and this, that, and the third as they arise. So don't be afraid of finding a mechanic in whatever state that you find a good deal in to go view that truck to give you a breakdown of what he found, right? When you go rent or you go lease, they should be giving you a top tier truck because they have entire parameters that they have to go through before they can give you that truck. Now, you're going to pay weekly for that truck and you're also going to have to put a down payment. I'm not too sure where you are. It's going to depend on exactly what vicinity you are in Northeast, the South, or whether it be West or Midwest. All those rates differ depending on where you are, right? But they're going to give you a good truck. So the good thing about that is you don't have to pay for maintenance, but you're going to be paying something every week that may equate more than what you would pay monthly if you purchased or financed a truck. So it just depends on your budget. It depends on what you're trying to do, how much money you have, what your credit's going to leverage you to do. It all just based upon that. And you have to find what's best fits for you. Do not jump in the business just because you have heard that you can get a box truck, you can throw it on Amazon. Throw that out the window, right? Don't listen to that narrative. Find out what's going to work best for you as far as your budget, and then you have to then go seek out the opportunities that are against the status quo. And that's what we did, and that's why we reached a certain success that we did. And I'll tell people this, and I'm not against Amazon. I'm not against Amazon. I want to say that, but Amazon is not your only lane to make money within this box truck realm. It's going to be a little harder because Amazon will allow you in. They will give you freight. You'll be able to move. You'll make a little bit of money, but it's not going to be the be all end all. So it just depends on your budget and the plan that you have for your business, and stick to that plan and try to make sure you get everything out of your plan as best as possible.
Can I get a piece of
Got
that as
it.
well?
Yes, thank you so much. And then
Oh,
Joy, oh, go ahead.
my bad. Saint came up because I knew he had some game to give you on this. Hey, welcome to the stage,
What's
Saint.
up, man? Thank you.
Okay.
My guy Desi, baby. What's up, man? But just pairing it off what Josh said. So I'm mainly into semis and hot shots. But the gist of it kind of is all the same, right? So one good place to look for box trucks I know is going to be Truck Paper. If you do want to get like a used truck, you can go and download the Truck Paper app or go to truckpaper.com. They got a fleet on there for you. My personal advice, right? I've been as a fleet owner that's been doing this for a few years now. The compromise I've also rented from Enterprise. Like in 2020, I think I had like 9 Enterprise trucks. And then I also own 7 of my trucks, right? The compromise that I've learned is that through Enterprise pretty much took all my profit. Especially now in the later years of 2020, 2021, 2022, they started putting like when I first started getting the game with Enterprise, they didn't have mileage restrictions. Now they got mileage restrictions. Now, like for the trucks that I had, they would limit us to like 3,000 miles. It started at 12,000, then it went down to 9,000, then 6,000, and then 3,000. Then they even try to get us down to 2,500 miles per month that you're allowed to drive on an extended rental. So that sucks. You know what I'm saying? We're in the business of transportation. You got to conquer some miles. That shit it doesn't make sense anymore. So I was paying, like, for example, on a 1-ton dually truck, they would charge me, I think, $2,400 a month for the dually, as well as then I had to pay, if I went over the $3,000 in miles, it was anywhere between 18 and 25 cents per mile. Right. So pretty much at $3,000, the truck got to sit still because my budget was 45. So I would spend $4,500 every month per truck, had 9 of them. I was like one of the top people on the East Coast that was renting from Enterprise. I was paying like $90,000 every 3 months. Shit was crazy. But they took all my money, took all my profit. Then I started out with used trucks though. I went to go find a good deal on used trucks before I did the Enterprise route, but I was killing on my profit in maintenance and repairs. And then also what I noticed is that not only were the repairs killing me, but the time that the truck was down was like the biggest hit. So you know what I'm saying? Like if the trans go or the differential go or the rear goes or whatever goes, the motor blows, whatever the case is, okay, cool, I gotta sit it down. I might have the money for the repair, but then the truck's down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month, something like that. That's all time that it should be on the road. In the meantime, I'm also have been fishing, like trying to get my own direct customers, because to me, trucking doesn't work going off of load boards and Amazon. So like I'm trying to get my own direct customers. Now, by now I don't have a truck to move the freight that they willing to give me. So now I'm losing customers because they're losing trust in my capabilities when I got to tell them I can't this time, and then somebody else comes and picks up the load, right? So that just eventually kills your business. The compromise that I've learned from these lessons though has been just buy new, or as close to new as you can. Buy something that still got warranty on it. It's going to cost you a bit more than a note. And I think that sometimes when people see that, like, yo, like I don't want to spend $80,000, $100,000 on a truck or something like that. You're looking at that one big number. You ain't really paying that. All right, like you're paying whatever that shit comes down out to on a monthly scale. It's the big number that you're financing that scares a lot of people. But 9 times out of 10, you're not even keeping the truck until like when you're not keeping the truck for the whole term of the time of you financing it. So you would have never paid 80, 100, 120, so on and so forth. Just get a new truck with warranty. If a big part breaks, it's on the manufacturer. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, you got a better shot at running your truck that's newer, putting a driver in there. If you're not going to be the one that's going to be driving it, you want to put your driver inside of a safe and reliable vehicle. Put a driver inside something good, and then now you can kind of like take some worry off your plate in one aspect. You feel me? So I say go new, and you could buy a new box truck anyway. Plenty of dealers.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of those gems that did work. I actually just was looking at Truck Paper earlier today, so I will continue to search their site. And now you made me not want to ask about the load boards since you just said that.
I mean, you gonna have to jug all them first, but I mean, just the same way, kind of like Josh was saying, that you kind of got to go against the status quo and get your customers. The same thing I did. I just went against the status quo, and I went out, hit the ground running. You know what I'm saying? As far
Right.
as getting my name out there and going to go approach people directly. I mainly deal with cars. You know what I'm saying? So I went to all dealerships. I went to the auctions. I went and knocked on doors and shook hands and shit like that to go try to get my deals done. Because trucking to me that works with direct customers. You can't go like working with these brokers. It's just shitty.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And if and Jerry, I know you for time and all that, but I just want to jump in. First off, Saint, man, it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time, man.
I was
Shout out to you, bro. What's going on? I want to jump on kind of what Saint said, and everything he said is absolutely correct because I don't think I could paraphrase it any better than what he said. But I'm gonna drop a gem right now for everybody and anybody who is looking to get into the box truck realm, and this is something that I've done, right? So of course you go through all that, whatever you decide, right? You're going to want to get in that truck. One of the gems that I can give you, and this is one thing that worked for us, is that we were spot market off the gate. You get a truck, regardless of what you're going to do, you're probably going to jump off spot market. You're going to get some loads to move that truck to make those payments. One thing that you can do in order to try to navigate to where the dedicated freight is, if you are on the load board, right? If you see loads that have an origin point and a destination that is the same location, there's an 8 out of 10 percentage that might be a dedicated lane. And especially if you look around this time from September to about October 20th, right? Because you get into peak season. You get a lot of these brokers, and just to be honest, from the get go, you're going to wind up dealing with a broker. I agree with Saint. The best thing to do is try to get to those direct shippers and those distributors that you can get into. But a lot of times when you're first starting off, you got to deal with those brokers, and you're going to have those different headaches when it comes with those brokers. But if you're on the low board during right before peak season, and you see an origin and a destination that is exactly the same location, 8 out of 10 times that might be dedicated. You want to call that broker and find out what that is because they're
Okay.
shopping. They're
Got
shopping.
it.
They have a contract. They're shopping. They might be at their little less lower part. They've already got carriers they deal with. They may have given some contracts out, but they're trying to facilitate that entire contract that they have with that customer. So if you see that, reach out to that broker. You can click on them. If you're using DAT, which is where we started, you click on that broker, you get the information, you call them, and you have the conversation. That might lead you to a better situation to get into dedicated freight just for a trial period. They're going to get anybody they can in there. So that's just a little gem I wanted to drop.
All right, thank you for that. And then last question, like with the low boards, I know it's so many different ones out here. Do you all suggest paying for like a low board? There was one that I seen that had like a membership with it and I paid. It was really cheap, but I just been on there kind of looking since I don't have the truck yet, but every week I get like two and three different like loads that they're sending me saying that's available. And so is that kind of really something to target?
DAT and truckstop.com. And one of the best things that you're doing right now is getting on those low boards and getting familiar before you even have your equipment. I did the exact same thing. I think that like in your mind, like you should like imagine the truck that you might be buying. Imagine like your driver, like go to the future right quick and see your company, right? And imagine the lanes that you want to kind of run and where you want to keep your truck at, and go just on there and just search between those lanes and get that figured out. Map that out. That way you can get a good, assumption, a good estimate, a good forecast of like what to look forward to in the coming months. And then
Okay.
that way you get your truck. You already ready to move and shit. But I would suggest DAT and truckstop.com.
Okay. And like
I
I
agree
mentioned,
with those. I definitely
Absolutely
agree with
agree.
those. Even if folks that are listening in that are interested in being dispatchers, getting you if even if you click on one of the links I got or anybody got, you can get a free month of DAT and getting yourself familiar with the load board and seeing the things that Josh talked about, because I do think that was a great nugget right there, Josh. And I can attest this brother has done this. I know he's done this personally. So it's a short time. It's definitely a time to start looking on the load board for those dedicated opportunities as peak season approaches. And yeah. So I appreciate you, Saint, for sure, for coming in with all that information, all that knowledge. Um, we did have Kevin. Kevin joined the stage, and he's one of the homies. What's up, Kevin? How you doing today, brother?
Hey, what's up, Jory? Thanks for having me, and good to see a lot of familiar faces here. What's up, Josh?
No doubt, no
Hey,
doubt.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Kevin, go ahead and introduce yourself and let the folks know what you got going on. But yeah, the whole point is I definitely want people to know what you're doing, because Miss Lawanda is in a similar situation to you, except for you're on the dispatch side of things. So please, and give a little bit of background about what you did before you entered this new space, if you could.
Sure, yeah. Hey guys, my name is Kevin. I'm a software. So most recently, I was a software engineer at Uber. I was working on Uber's rideshare marketplace. So I didn't actually work on Uber Freight, but for some reason after Uber, I found myself in the trucking space, just being really interested. So I'm a software engineer and a startup founder. I got my start in trucking just by going to truck stops and talking to truckers and just learning more about the industry. I also have a TikTok account where I just like documented my journey of going to truck stops, talking about trucking, kind of similar to Jory's story in terms of just like I learned about the industry just by chatting with people. And that eventually just became kind of like a media channel for me. And I was like, okay, maybe I should just keep growing this. So I have the TikTok account going, and most recently, I actually Jory knows about. I mean, Jory and I did a podcast episode. Jory was kind enough to be my first podcast guest for my very first episode. So I also run an episode just talk about technology and freight. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do. And if you guys want to check out the first episode, I posted on LinkedIn. It's kind of embarrassing, but thanks to Jory for sticking with me. But other than that, I also run a technology startup. I am building a payroll solution designed specifically for trucking companies. And I think the core idea is I think the core belief is that I think there can be a better payroll solution designed to really understand the needs of trucking companies and service trucking companies. And right now, what we are doing is we are offering a service to help help company truck drivers to access their earned wages sooner. So meaning, typical trucking companies, are paying their drivers every 7 days or every 14 days. And what we want to do is we want to work with trucking fleets and work with fleet owners to help them to offer a benefit to their truck drivers, to their company drivers, so the drivers can access their wages in real time rather than waiting for 2 weeks or 7 days, so they can have better cash flow and take care of their family. So yeah, that's a overview in terms of what I'm working on. Still pretty new to the industry. Definitely learned a lot from Jory and other folks in the industry. So yeah, thanks for having me here, guys. I really appreciate it.
No, no doubt, Kevin. Did you just say that you're going to be the factoring company? That is awesome, man. Look, I pray that works out.
I'm not exactly a factoring company. I am helping, um, because factoring companies are basically providing like B2B payments for
Hmm.
like carriers. And there are a lot of factoring companies out there. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a factoring company, but it's a similar mental model where I'm basically, you can almost think of it as like I'm providing factoring, but for
Hmm.
company drivers, so they can access their wages sooner, and basically get paid in real time. So it's almost like factoring for company drivers. You can think of it like that, but
Yeah,
technically not a factoring company.
that's exactly what I was meaning when I was saying that. But no, that's dope, man. I don't think I've seen that service. So, I don't know I don't know what steps you would need to get further. But Grace Sharkey is on the stage right now. That's definitely, oh, my bad. She's not on the stage right now, but that's definitely her lane. If you wanted to reach out to her, because that's just what she does with Freightways. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate, yes, sir. I appreciate you coming up on the stage. Did you have a question or anything like that?
No, not really. I just want to come by and say hi and just really show some support and appreciate you for helping me out during my early days. So really
Yeah.
appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Yeah, anytime, man, anytime. And look, I appreciate you using this platform for exactly what it's supposed to be used for, which is, you just saying what's up. You sharing who you are, and people who are interested, they're going to naturally gravitate towards what you're talking about. So we did want to go ahead and get Miss Reneta. Did I say that correctly, Miss Ellis? Are you available to speak? And if so, you can unmute
So
yourself.
you can unmute yourself.
Boom.
Yes, you said it right. Boom.
Okay, well, cool. Well, look,
Okay, well, cool. Well, look,
I can definitely hear
I can
myself
definitely
back. I
hear
might
myself
want to
back.
ask
I
you
might
to
want to
turn
ask
that
you to
down
turn
just
that
a
down
bit,
just a
and that
bit.
way you can introduce yourself and let us know what you got
Let us
going
know
on.
what
And
you
if you
got
had
going
any
on. And if you
questions,
had any
boom,
questions,
ask them.
boom, ask. Okay, is the sound better?
It's a little better.
It's a little better. Okay. I got it connected to my truck, sorry.
It's all good.
So I found this group via Josh because when I started, so background about me, I started in oncology pharmacy, and I started in the transportation business actually last year as a medical courier, which is how I ran into Josh. Um, got a lot of ideas from him, and that took off way faster than I anticipated. To touch on Lawanda's question about where to find a truck, I bought a box truck in January. I'm here in North Carolina, so I've actually found one on Marketplace, and I had my mechanic go and look at it. I even took it to my maintenance place here in Durham, North Carolina. They put it on the computer, everything, all the maintenance stuff. So me talk from personal experience, if you have the budget right, I will buy first. My maintenance has not been really expensive, but we haven't had any major breakdowns or anything. Biggest thing is the preventative maintenance, right? um, so if you can do that, and that's just to get a lot of your overhead off. The touch base for her, for me, my question is, um, I seen somebody touch on trying to get dedicated lanes because right now my box truck is over the road. So I'm trying to find something more dedicated. So my driver is home every day. So what's a good place to look for that?
All right. Well, that's a great question. Where can you get dedicated opportunities? Well, Josh did give a quick little gem about utilizing the load board to see possible opportunities. I mean, I don't know what your day to day is looking like, how much of your time can be spent during the day going to these different shippers. But at the end of the day, you want to look for shippers that are in your area, especially if you want them to be dedicated opportunities that are local or regional or round trip. The best way is to go where the shippers be. I mean, Kevin actually got some content on his page of going directly to a shipper. He had the inside scoop because he could speak the language of the CEO. But the whole point is he put himself out there to go to the shipper. I mean, there are many ways in which you can get dedicated opportunities, but networking, and letting folks know that you have the service capacity in the first place is probably going to be your number one thing. And if you have the if you've already been able to run for certain brokers already, it's maybe changing that conversation that you're having with them instead of keeping it transactional, which is very natural. You see something on the load board, boom, you book it, and then you complete it and you get paid. But instead of just having it as cut and dry as that, more so having the wherewithal when you're having those discussions to talk about where are their dedicated opportunities, what do they have coming up, and is it something that you could be a fit for or be kept in the loop about. Those are all things that you or your dispatcher can directly influence. So those are just some very, very high level ways in which I would say you. My bad, I just got a phone call. The way you can put yourself in front of a shipper and get some dedicated opportunities, but there are many, many, many other ways to do it. And if anybody else wanted to join, thank you. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely jump in that. And first of all, Reneta, I'm super happy for the journey that you've gone on. I know we did talk in the past, and I'm happy to hear that you're having success. And just as a plus to what Jury just said, because that's definitely a start. And then a plus is right now, and I'll say it again, right now is a perfect time to try to find a way into dedicated freight because peak season is among us. And all brokers, all shippers, they're all gearing up for that. You want to go and attach yourself to the big box companies. Right now, and it's been this way for a good year now, everyone is trying to compete with the Amazon model, right? You have Walmart, you have Target, you have Kohl's, you have all these big box stores who want to compete with the Amazon protocol. So find out where their distribution centers are, their sort centers, whatever they may be labeling them as. Get a phone number, find it, call, and find out how you can get yourself in that place. Because 9 times out of 10, if you do get a phone number to them, they're going to direct you to a broker in which that they're using. Because they're not going to answer your questions. They're going to say, "Hey, call so and so. They're the ones that handle our freight," and then you have that conversation with them. On top of that, along with the tidbit I gave before, as far as the low boards, right? You can use that as well. But find out who these big box truck these big box companies are using, right? And then try to get your way into that door. Um, Peak season is where you get in, you can prove yourself, and even if it's a lane that you may not like, but you can negotiate a rate that is beneficial for what your numbers consist of, you can make it work, and then you start the relationship from there. But everyone is going with the Amazon model. Everyone, all these big box stores, they have to compete. They're trying to keep up with the pace, and last mile is not going anywhere. It's going to grow. The more and more people order, the more and more they want things faster. And also, when you talk to brokers, find out if they have these post office lanes, these DDUs, right, where you're delivering from a distro to a post office, because that's where the middle mile connects with the last mile. But find out where these big boxes are doing their business at, and feel free to give them a call, and then you can start there. You can start with the low board, like I said, the origin and destination if they equal the same location. 9 times, 8 out of 10, those are dedicated lanes that they need filled.
All right, all
Thank
right.
you.
My brother Josh came through with the game. I appreciate you, Renetta. I think that was a great question, man. Thank you so much for asking that. I am going to conclude. I'm going to turn off the hand raising. Miss Lawanda, did you have something else that you wanted to
I
say,
did. I
ma'am?
just wanted to ask one more question. Is there anywhere where you can go to get like knowledge and information on how to do the bids, like bidding, for loads and things like that?
Um. Well, I mean, are you talking specifically for box trucks?
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. So, I mean, they do have trainings. Like there are certain folks that have trucking businesses and they've done it at a really, really high level. So they have created these trainings, and they give you kind of like the markers, you know what I mean? But I don't necessarily feel as though you need to go to a training. You really just need to get like a mentor, or ask people who are already doing it, like a Josh or somebody else that you might network with. I don't want to. I don't just want to send you to somebody's training, because it's still going to be their own personal opinion. Whereas you just really need to learn the thought process behind it. You know what I mean? And you then make the numbers work for what your business is. Um, Josh just gave the example of, well, getting a dedicated opportunity. It might not be the number that you want, but it might be the onset to a relationship where you can grow more down the line. I know he's done that, and it's worked out great for him. You know what I mean? So it's really just going to depend on what you're interested in, and what the service level that you're providing is. Because if you're if you're doing uh, something where you're going to have some driver assist, well, you're going to be able to price more. If you're going to be using your lift gate because you got that 26-foot, box truck, you're going to be able to charge more. If it's going to be an inside delivery, that's going to be a little bit more as well. So it's like these small little things that is any of these little things that are in addition to just a regular dock to dock opportunity that you're going to like continuously charge more and more for. So it's going to depend on the lane itself. But if you were in a spot where you were interested in bidding on something for a box truck and you wanted to run it by somebody, feel free to reach out to me.
Okay.
I submit bids. Well, I used to. I ain't gonna lie to you. now, now my relationships are, they're saying, "Hey, here's the opportunities. Do you have somebody?" And I'm like, "Yes," and we kind of just go from there. But if you're looking for those dedicated opportunities, similar to what Josh was describing, you are going to have to bid. So I'm more than happy with being a resource at that time.
Okay, yeah, because what it is that I'm working with someone who's he's been driving for like a year and a half. But as far as the bidding, and he's getting like opportunities from the US Postal Service, but he doesn't know how to bid. And so with me going into the new trucking, that's part of the information. Like if I can learn this side, he's helping me come along with, getting into the trucking, finding the routes and just the different components of doing that. So it's kind of like we're kind of helping each other out. So I said that was one part that I could learn, because I don't mind the education part. I don't mind looking through researching. But as a male, he doesn't want to do that part. So that's why I'm willing to kind of look for that and do it.
Right, right. No, I mean, I think it's just a conversation. It's definitely a conversation. Josh, what'd you have, brother?
I was gonna say, come to death row.
Yeah.
Listen, and once again, I say that comically, but at the end of the day, like as jury knows, and we've had these conversations in the past, and I know we've both grown over this time, but we're both still advocates for the box truck community. You know, coming into this game, I knew that it was difficult to get into dedicated freight, but I knew after doing all the things I didn't want to do, it was something that I needed and a necessity that I had to acquire. So if you do have some questions, I have no problem helping. I know George's already put his hand out there to help you as well. But he said it eloquently. There's different lanes, there's different situations. Me and Jury have also had situations when we were working together where there were different audibles that we had to do. Right, we had to call Omaha's. We may have quoted on one thing, and then something happened. It was like, okay, this is going to calls for some extraness, right? So there's always different situations. But if you're trying to go after dedicated freight, once again, it goes back to what I said very early in this conversation. You have to know your numbers, but you also have to understand that there's a margin on both sides. There's a margin that you're trying to get to, but there's also a margin that a broker has, or even a margin that a shipper has, right? And as long as you can stay in that sweet spot where you're not overtaking their margin and you're not undertaking your margin, then you're doing great business, right? A lot of people try to go after the highest level of rate that they can. And necessarily, going after that higher rate does not lead to business a year from now. It only leads to that business for right now. So it is a sweet spot that you can get into where it can lead you down a road that is going to give you exponential growth over time. So you have to figure that out. But if you do have those questions, if there's anything I can help with, I have no problem raising my hand and saying I'm willing to help. And I know Jury did the same thing. But at the end of the day, if you do need anything, come to Death Row. We want to help this box truck community out as best as possible. I've been blessed over this past 2 years where we've gotten to a space where dedicated freight is our entire encompass of our business. So anything that I can share along that journey to help anyone else, I'm all for it. But there's definitely a sweet spot that you need to get into in regards to if you're doing home delivery versus doing middle mile and doing last mile. It's a whole thing. So if you need something, feel free to reach out, DM me. I have no problem helping out.
Okay, thank you. I did follow you on Clubhouse and I also followed you on Instagram as well. So I will. Thanks.
Well, nice, nice, nice. Look, man, this has been an awesome session. I'm very excited about what happened. The game that was shared, we've had some cameos by some industry leaders, people who are really moving and shaking. So I'm very appreciative of everything that happened tonight. I didn't get a chance to say this while Grace was on stage, but next week I'm gonna have an additional interview. I normally do my bad boys on Wednesdays, but I'm going to be interviewing DAT on Monday, to kick off Driver Appreciation Week. So tune in if you get an opportunity. I love to have the support and, possibly you guys ask questions from, their expert. So I'm excited about interviewing DAT. We should be back on Monday the uh, with the sonar team over at Freightwaves. Our brother Zach, he got married a couple Sundays ago, and he's been on vacation. And we did have the holiday yesterday, so we should be back on and running on Monday morning at 7:30, just like normal. Um, Additionally, again, I got this list up here. Go ahead and submit your information in this bad boy. Go ahead and submit your information so that you can be part of our list, our email list. The first thing that I was going to be sending out is the fact that I'm going to be running that 5K. And, if you're in the Atlanta area and you're interested in joining the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse team, you're more than welcome. So go ahead and submit your information into that link that's above, our faces. If matter of fact, let's go ahead and close this bad boy out. Josh, did you have anything you wanted to say to close this bad boy out?
Absolutely. You know, I always got words.
All right.
I thank you. You know, you've been my brother in arms through this journey. So, I continue to give you your flowers. And also, I'm extend a congratulations on the platform because I know you're about to be a new father. So I want to give you your roses on that side.
Appreciate
Um,
you, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I wish that baby the great health that it deserves to get into this world. But I thank you for the platform. I know Desi's gone, but I want to thank him and the Truck and Breakfast Club for what they did for my journey. If it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for the Clubhouse platform, I really don't know if I'd be where I am. And I also want to say thank you to my team who have helped me get to where we are now. And I know we're going to do exponential growth going forward. And for anybody out there that's trying to get this business to start, don't be afraid, right? Take the fear, throw it out the window, start to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, chase the dream, make sure you know your numbers, make sure you have understanding, you network, and you follow through. Those are the three premises that I followed, and it took me from a small SUV to where we are now, and the future is just looking as bright as ever. So I thank you for this opportunity. I hope we have more of these opportunities to have these conversations. And anything that I can do to help the box truck community or the transportation community, period, feel free to reach out to me. Don't hesitate. Anybody on this platform, I'm always willing to help.
Definitely, brother. Definitely. I appreciate you, man. You shared a lot of valuable insights tonight, and I'm very. This is like reassuring. I was like, man, this is the perfect person to have as the headliner to this bad boy, and you continuously prove why that was the best choice. So I truly appreciate you accepting the invitation. And you're right, man. Without Clubhouse, I definitely, my bad. Somebody's reaching out. I definitely wouldn't be, without Clubhouse, I definitely wouldn't be where I am right now. That's on a professional side. Uh, Even on a confidence side, because when I say that public speaking wasn't something that what I was particularly interested in before, I used to get very nervous even talking on this app. But through reps, of just doing it, just getting out there and doing it, there's not a stage that I'm not able to speak on if need be. So really leverage whatever things you have right there at your in your reach and allow it and just follow it. And it might fine tune you. It might give you some of those skill sets that you might need to get to the next level. So again, I truly appreciate this Clubhouse family. And if there's anything I can do for anybody, just let me know. But outside of that, man, we're gonna just say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you, Lawanda and Kevin, for being on stage. And we're gonna see you guys on Monday. So y'all have a blessed one, and thank you again. Peace.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks.